Hello and welcome to episode 43 of the Disconnected Gamers podcast, where we reconnect with life and also gaming, sometimes, mostly.
Yeah.
I'm one of your hosts, Andrew, not usually known as J-Bond, and with me as always, if you don't know by now,
If you don't know by now, it's your boy Mike.
Sunday, it's the evening, and it's also now dark way earlier. So I couldn't tell you if the weather's nice. I can't tell. It's just dark out. It's November 1st, the beginning of the end, as they say, where we go from Halloween right into Christmas. Forget about Thanksgiving and the Pilgrims and all those guys. Bastards. It's tomorrow, though, is free, 50% off Candy Day, so that's nice. But we're going to get right into it because we are a little pressed for time this week. And the topic, which I was listening to, it was Colin Moriarty from Kind of Funny, because I listen to a lot of their stuff anyway. He was the one bringing it up, but I can't remember if it was like a Gamescast or if it was just Colin and Greg Live or if it was just something else that I was listening to him talk about, like on one of their YouTube videos. And he was talking about how Metal Gear Solid 5 so according to this article on Eurogamer.net,
Right.
Konami has shipped 5 million copies of Metal Gear Solid 5. And that includes digital. So 5 million copies, right?
Right.
But it cost like north of 80 million to make the game. It was expensive. We all know that the whole giant junk around that. But basically, if you were to say that I gotta break out the calculator. 5 million. Is that million times $60 is that $30 million? Yeah, $30 million. Okay, so 30 million. So they it doesn't make its money back, basically.
Right.
Because that's only 30 million, right? Not even close. Because 5 times 6, yeah. So I'm focusing kind of around this idea of like Metal Gear Solid 5 had tons of hype, tons of people wanted it. It's on multiple platforms, and it only ships 5 million copies, and that's apparently across all, 360, Xbox
360,
One,
Xbox One,
yeah,
PS3,
PS3,
PS4.
PS4, yeah. And PC, is it on PC? It's on PC, right?
I think they said they might release
Okay,
it at
so it's
some
not on
point.
PC. Okay, I wasn't sure. And of course there's the FOB insurance thing, which is another way for them to get money, but people are pissed about it. So anyway, the idea that Metal Gear Solid 5 was this hugely anticipated game only gets 5 million copies, right?
Right.
And then this is a GameSpot article from July of this year. Drive Club hits 2 million copies, right? So and we know that that was a big deal because the fucking game came out a year after it was supposed to, and it managed to sell 2 million copies.
Basically,
and that's sold 2 million sold. And
right.
It was 2 million according to this article before the free PS Plus edition came out. Right, and obviously, Paris Games Week, we got Drive Club Bikes, which you have to buy to get the expansion, or it's a standalone if you wanted a standalone. But so that's that. Dying Light, as this
Another
is
example,
GameSpot,
right?
same deal. It's by Eddie. Both the GameSpot articles were by Eddie Makuch. I don't know. I'm probably killing his name. This was August 13th, 2015. Dying Light sells 5 million copies. So Dying Light, sleeper hit game of the year, sells the same as Metal Gear Solid 5. It doesn't say how much it cost them to make it.
Right.
But I know that this game had a little bit of this. I believe Dying Light was delayed twice. But again, didn't have the hype behind it. Didn't have the hype train, for Kojima's last game. But still managed to sell 5 million copies.
Decent.
And then on the crazy scale, for reference, Minecraft has sold 20 million PC copies. Mac and Windows. 20 million copies on Mac and Windows.
Jeez.
And Apparently 15 million of those for PC, which is a lot. And then across the other platforms, the mobile version has sold 30 million, which is ridiculous. It's sold
Jeez.
well above 70 million copies. So
Right.
okay, so just for a reference of like how big Minecraft is in comparison, right? It's 10 times bigger than Dying Light and Konami, Metal Gear Solid 5 rather.
Metal Gear Solid, right. Yep.
And so I guess I wanted to talk about the weird hype behind some of these games. Because it just seems that like some games have ridiculous
Look, they pay so much for the marketing,
yeah.
and then like nothing will happen for specific games. And then some games have no marketing, and people are just like, day one purchase.
Right. It's like I don't get how I still kind of am baffled that Drive Club managed to sell 2 million copies when I was so pissed about buying that game.
Yeah, same.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
And then like this. Okay, so this is an IGN article from August of 2015. Oh my god, stupid auto playing ads. Grand Theft Auto 5 has sold 54 million copies across all platforms.
Ooh.
So, Grand Theft Auto 5, same deal. It got delayed. The PC version had some stuff, but it's apparently sold 52 million. In February, they said 52 million copies over its lifetime. That's absurd.
And that's including PC, PS3,
Yeah, I
PS4,
believe that's
Xbox
across-
One.
yeah. Which means it's almost on par with Minecraft. But the difference is Grand Theft Auto 5 has not been out nearly as long as Minecraft.
No,
you know?
not at all.
Minecraft would be the slow burn, whereas Grand Theft Auto 5 managed to do it pretty fast.
Yeah, it sold well on release.
Yeah,
I believe.
I think it sold like 11 million copies in the first 2 days because I think I saw an article that said that.
Yeah, Rockstar got one of the
What's the Wikipedia page?
What's it called? Awards. And we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So anyway, so that was kind of where my head was at because I was just kind of thinking about like some of these games, and it's like it's kind of sad to see Metal Gear Solid not sell that many copies. 5 million doesn't seem, it seems pretty. It seems pretty. Yeah, I have to imagine there's a little bit of disappointment, from Kojima because like this was his I suppose his left behind legacy. And it only sells 5 million copies. And like Drive Club is catching up at 2 million copies, and Drive Club's doing ridiculously well. So and I feel like Drive Club might be a game that people might buy later on in the life cycle of the console because there really aren't that many racing games on PlayStation 4. And I mean, obviously, we're going to get GT Sport in the future, but it just seems like Drive Club has the benefit of there aren't that many good racing game options.
Right.
Whereas Metal Gear Solid
Need for Speed
doesn't exactly have the upper hand on having
third-person action.
Yeah, like there's tons of third-person, adventure stealth games. I mean, you could even look at Last of Us as kind of on that same path. It's just not. It's not tactical espionage. It's just stealth-based gameplay.
Stealth-based,
So it's kind of weird that they've sold that many copies. I mean, it just seems strange.
Right. I mean, it's still a lot, but I mean, I feel like it would have been a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, and it looks like this is from a post over a year ago on the GameSpot forums because I just wanted to quickly look up Last of Us Remastered. Says it sold 1.5 million copies within 24 hours. When it launched. So and that game came out a year ago. So I imagine it's got to be north of 2 million at this point anyways.
Right.
And who knows how many it sold on PS3. So it's weird, but let's let's see. There's a Wikipedia page for The Last of Us. Perfect. Let's see. Does it tell me copies sold? I mean, it doesn't matter. And it's just kind of it's just weird to me to see games that kind of like, it's weird how many people aren't talking about Dying Light now, right? Because it came out during that lull of we didn't have any games, and that is probably, to its credit, the best thing that ever happened to it. It got released when there was not really any competition around it, so when people were like, oh, I want something new to play, they just grabbed Dying Light, and it's actually a good game anyways. It has a pretty good story, you know?
Right.
It has a lot to do. It has, co-op experience. You can play it single player if you want, you know?
Right.
So it is weird.
All the expansion or whatever.
Yeah,
DLC.
I was gonna say there's DLC expansions now, or there was then, but there's more coming. And there was actually something for Halloween in Dying Light. I didn't even jump in to see what it was, but they had teased about going into certain areas and there'd be something special to find. So, it's just kind of weird that Metal Gear Solid didn't.
Yeah, it is.
And like, was this people wanted the game to do bad because they wanted like Konami to do bad because they knew Kojima was leaving? You know, there's no stats on people refusing to buy the game, right?
Right.
You know, all the people I expected to buy the game got the game, so I really don't know what the
consensus I'm getting from it is that a lot of people that have played already now, they're almost kind of let down because of cut content and just kind of how it all was handled.
But wouldn't they have had the game before they knew that happened? You know, didn't everybody basically at that point already have the game before they knew that content had been cut and things like that?
I don't recall, but I thought there was a reviewer that was like, hey, just so you know, there's been some cut content. Because there was an article that was like, hey, fair warning, don't read this if you haven't played the game yet, you know?
Right.
But so-and-so scene got cut from the game, so the story doesn't make sense at all.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least a specific plot in the game won't make sense now.
Right.
About that scene that was cut.
Weird.
So, I mean, I doubt that's one of the reasons why it's not selling well. But I mean, 5 million again, it's still not bad.
5 million is not bad, but it's weird when you consider they sold 5 million across 4 platforms, and Drive Club only exists on PS4, and still managed to sell 2 million.
Yeah.
You know, like obviously Dying Light I think was just next gen. I think it was just PS4 and Xbox One, and PC. But a little weird.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe Dying Light is on PS3 too. I'm not actually 100% sure on that.
So I think it's just strictly PS4, Xbox One.
Yep.
And PC.
Yeah, PC, PS4, Xbox One.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of strange. I mean, I don't know. It's one of those things I'm just kind of like, but you know,
kind of expect a little bit.
I expect, you kind of, I kind of expected it to sell a ton. I mean, even Destiny has managed to sell a ton, despite
all the negativity.
Yeah, I mean, and it kind of goes back to what we were talking about last week with like voting with your wallet. Like people got butthurt about Assassin's Creed, but they bought the game, you know, and it's like people were butthurt about Metal Gear Solid 5, and I guess didn't buy the game. It would seem, you know. I don't know. Like, I'm curious. Fallout 4, they said, went gold.
Yep.
Which means that means that it's like...
It's done.
Yeah, it means the game is done. But I'm curious how many pre-orders there are.
Last time I went to GameStop, they never said it was sold out. I mean, obviously not the regular game. Obviously the collector's edition's gone, but...
Right.
Just the game itself. Still plenty of copies to pre-order or whatever. Still plenty of pre-orders left on those.
Yeah, this is vgcharts.com/preorders, and it says USA pre-order chart. The most pre-ordered games in the USA ranked by unit sales. Week ending 5th of September 2015. Call of Duty Black Ops 3 Xbox One, Call of Duty Black Ops 3 PS4. Halo 5 Guardians, which is now out. Total number 441,000. That's a lot of pre-orders. But I mean, Call of Duty hits 1 million between the two next gen versions. NBA 2K16 was fourth with 207,000. That's so weird. Then the Division, Tales of Zestiria, Division again, and then even Fallout 4, PS4, and Xbox One only have between the two of them about 320,000. But I don't understand if that means total number of pre-orders. Global top 10. Number 1, Metal Gear Solid 5, 1.6 million. Number 2, Mad Max, 400,000. Number 3, Metal Gear Solid 5, Phantom Pain on Xbox, 239,000. Number 4, PS3 Metal Gear Solid 5, Phantom Pain, 207,000. So the PS4, Xbox One, and PS3 versions are there, but the Xbox 360 version is not listed. But that just seems... I don't get how this... What's this
That
global...
seems... Yeah, that seems odd.
What does this weekly chart index mean? Okay, give me global weekly chart. Okay, the week's top selling games at retail ranked by unit sales. And it says number 1 is Metal Gear Solid 5 with 1.6 million sales globally. That's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't even count in the fact that it's really 2 million sales because it's another 400,000 with the Xbox One and PS3 versions.
Right.
And there's the Xbox 360 version was 37,000, number 13. Yeah, Grand Theft Auto 5 on PS4 says 7.7 million total. This week it was... I don't know. I don't know where they're getting the numbers. Like, where the total number is coming from. Because I feel like that's saying in its first... Oh, okay, how many weeks it's been. Maybe I wonder if this is however they're getting their numbers. It just seems... I don't know. I mean, it's not NPD, whatever the NPD numbers.
Right.
I don't... but it's just kind of interesting that the game seems to be selling really well, but it's actually not selling well enough.
Yeah.
And it's weird. I wish they would do I wish someone would do a chart that was presumed cost to make game, estimated copy sold, and then it was number it needs to sell to break even, percentage chance of breaking even or something.
Mm-hmm.
Because even Until Dawn looks like it sold 500,000 copies.
500,000, yeah.
And that's pretty good. I don't think they were expecting to sell that much. Which is
right.
But it's so weird to think about that too, because when I'm thinking about it, and it's 500,000 copies times $60 is that 30 million or 300 million? I can't tell. My computer doesn't have a calculator that gives me fucking commas and decimal points, so I can't read how many zeros that is. And that's $30 million. So then that means Metal Gear Solid did $300 million. If my math is apparently wrong. 60 times 5. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. That's 1, 2. Yeah, that's $300 million. So then it definitely broke even. It has to. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Forget the beginning of the podcast. Apparently I'm wrong. That doesn't make sense.
Right.
So that means they did $300 million, which means they definitely broke even, which means who cares? You broke even a bunch of times over.
Mm-hmm.
So then I guess it sold fine.
Either that or someone, hey, let us know if he's wrong.
I don't get I don't know. I don't do the numbers thing. I've never been that person who
right
knows how to
just calculate everything and
well, you know how people get the NPD reports and all that stuff. I don't.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm going off of this VG Charts website and it could be wrong. I don't exactly know. Game sales. Okay, so here we go. Okay, this is Game Revolution. Gamer Revolution? No, GameRevolution.com. This was September 6th, and it says MGSV, The Phantom Pain sells 3 million within 1 week, on track for Konami's profit. 6 years, hard work and investment, blah, 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 blah. Cost them more than any other game. It funded over 80 million and demonstrated concerns it's not going to get its money back. And in contrast, Metal Gear Solid 4 Guns of the Patriot sold 1.2 million units on day one and above 4 million during its first month. 7 years later, it stands at around 6 million units sold. Okay. So then the game's basically, right about probably where it's going to be, I guess. Might appear this 3 million figure means the game has earned its investment back. Unfortunately, if Tomb Raider's similar $100 million development and struggle to profit was any indication, Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain will need to hit 5 million units sold before it starts to make any money. The only thing that makes things different is the presence of microtransactions in Metal Gear Solid 5. They have a high profit margin and can aid in the pursuit of revenue. If 5 million copies is what it needs to sell to make its money back.
All right, then there we go.
It seems weird.
Like you figure it would have been a higher number.
Well, it just seems like is 5 million the break even, or is 5 million like they gotta sell it? Like
I'd imagine they have to sell it. I'd imagine at least.
Yeah.
So otherwise, they're just could just lose money.
Right.
Because you don't want to settle at a loss.
For sure. Nobody wants to make a game at a loss.
Right.
It just seems kind of weird. I mean, it's just because and it's one of those things like I can't imagine Drive Club is profitable at 2 million copies. I mean, you spent a year extra making the game. Like, I can't imagine that a year of, more development didn't cost you a ton of money.
Right, yeah, there's no way that they didn't go over their budget.
And it's like, yeah, the difference is Konami has tons of money they could throw at it anyways. It's not like, I mean, they're going to lose money on this project, but overall, it's not like they don't have a, profit margin they can eat into. Like, Drive Club, Evolution Studios, it's not like they have a huge bankroll. Sony funded a big portion of that, has to be. And I'm just curious to see how, yeah, they're getting excited it sold 2 million copies, but it's like 2 million copies might not have even made them enough money to do anything, You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, that's
awkward.
It was just awkward pause.
I thought
I'm just thinking if Konami needs to sell 5 million to break even, right? How many did Drive Club need to sell to break even?
Right. Because with all the plays and
it's like it had to cost them. They laid people off.
Right. So it had to. There's no way they made their money back.
No, I can't imagine they did. But then, you've got a game like The Witcher 3, right? Let's see what that says for game sales.
Yeah, I wonder.
Because I think that did super, super well. Okay, here we go. This is GamersNexus.net. This was in September by Steve Burke. Witcher 3 has been one of the biggest releases of the year. It's seen 1 million PC activations on GOG. Netting a profit of $62.5 million in the first 1 hour. That's a lot.
Yeah.
CD Projekt Red released blah, blah, blah. The Witcher 2 cost the company just $10 million to make, but they've now learned that The Witcher 3 cost a total of $81 million. Okay. Ooh. So that was, so Witcher 3 costs basically around the same as Metal Gear Solid 5 from what we know. And then it says, for perspective, Grand Theft Auto 5 cost $265 million to make.
Oh, wow.
And Destiny cost upwards of $500 million, including marketing.
Jeez.
That's ridiculous.
That is ridiculous.
Wow. Total Witcher 3 volume sales sees around 6 million in sales. 73 million from digital sales. Net profit was illustrated. Blah 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 blah.
So they basically make back what they needed, or
I guess.
I mean, I'd imagine.
Wait, what the
There
heck does
was
1H15 mean? I don't know. Maybe that's first quarter or something.
maybe.
That's cool. There's like a video of the guy doing like a presentation on it. Apparently they only like made like $1,200 in 2014.
Oh, wow.
According to this thing, it's so this like I'm gonna have to read this whole thing. So it says net profit was illustrated as 236 million zlotys, or 62.5 million US dollars. This is in stark contrast to 1H14, comma. So 1H14 must mean the first half, maybe? Maybe that's what it means, the first half of 2014, when the company reported a net profit of just 1,233 US dollars. Wow. So you literally skirted the line of survive. Well, you skirted the line of breaking even. You know, you managed to pay everybody and all that fun stuff. You just had $1,200 extra to spend. But apparently in 2015, that was $62.5 million. But The Witcher 2 came out in 2011, so there was 3 years of basically nothing at that point. It would have been 3 years of development. So that's, I mean, that's interesting that they can go. I mean, obviously not every company is the same, but it's interesting that CD Projekt Red managed to go basically 3 years without actually, well, losing any. I mean, I guess maybe they lost money in the previous years, but it's like the fact that they actually were skirting a balanced cost of 2014 after not actually having released any games.
Right, basically going.
That's ridiculous, though.
Props to them, man.
$1,200.
Yeah.
Don't spend it all in one place. It is weird how much. Like, I guess I don't make video games. I don't know how much it costs to make this.
Right. Yeah.
It seems so bizarre to see games costing $100 million to make. 500, like Destiny costing $500 million, and I get that includes marketing, which I could see them spending. Like people said, they could have spent $100 million in marketing the game, but that still means the game cost $400 million.
Right.
Like it seems weird to me that a game cost $500 million to make.
That's completely insane.
And like that's all Bungie has riding on, right? It's like, you know, Konami has tons of other stuff that makes money. Bungie doesn't have anything. They only have Destiny. Destiny has to be successful.
Right.
It's like Naughty Dog has the Uncharted series. They have The Last of Us. They have, you know, Crash Bandicoot, or maybe they don't own the rights to it, but like they have a history of games that made them money while they worked on their new games. Like Bungie doesn't have that. Konami has it. Like Techland, you know, with Dying Light, maybe they had some extra money, you know, but also I think Warner Brothers probably would have been funding.
I'd imagine, WB was helping shell out money or whatever.
Yeah, because I think that was Techland developed it, but it was published by WB. I want to double check. I don't want to be wrong on that.
Yeah, I think WB was a publisher.
Let's just quickly go to GameStop. Yeah, Warner Home Video Games. and then of course Warner Brothers is offering refunds for Arkham Knight on PC.
Yep. Up to 2016.
Yeah.
Somewhere in 2016.
Like, unbelievable.
Yeah, I don't get why they can't figure out the PC version.
You can't fix, like, that's my thing, right? You pulled it from the store, meaning you were like, hey, we do not want any more people buying the game because it's so broken. And then you're finally just like, you know what, fuck it. We're just going to give everybody their money back. This is stupid.
Yeah.
Like, you're just going to throw in the towel and just be like, we're just going to make a new game.
You just can't continue to lose money trying to fix it. So if you're losing money, you might as well just, you know, give it back to the consumer that spent their money buying your product when you couldn't release, you know, the product you wanted to them, to that that crowd, the PC crowd.
Yeah. So this is Engadget.com, and this was this was published literally an hour ago. So you heard it here first. Sean Buckley. The failure of Arkham Knight's PC port is finally complete after being removed from digital stores and being completely broken at launch, going through 4-month overhaul, blah, 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 blah. If you bought the game on PC, you are eligible for a refund between now and the end of the year. They spelled out the details on the Steam community page, except for there's one exception. The Season Pass is only eligible for a refund with the main game. So you can't just return the DLC and keep the game. You have to return everything. My whole thing is, why the hell would you want the regular game if it's still broken? Users who purchased a retail copy said this refund page does not load.
Crashing from everyone trying to fucking, get a refund.
Yeah. So it says users that choose not to return the game or can't get a refund to work are being promised that they will continue to work on the game, but carefully notes that it may not be able to fix some issues. How can you not be able to fix the issue?
Yeah.
You made the game.
Right?
How can you tell me that you can't fix it?
Right. That, or whichever dev was working on that specific code, he either lost whatever he had or he can't
what did he accidentally delete it?
Rid of it. Yeah. He's like, I don't remember what I did when
somebody
I set that code.
Did one of the lead guys just walk out and was like, screw you guys, I'm leaving it. I'm not even gonna bother.
I don't know.
And here's the thing that blows my mind. I gotta enter my fucking birth. I hate you, Steam. I just want to go to the Steam page. Batman Arkham Knight, right? That's it. Released June 23rd, 2015. User reviews mixed. 19,000 reviews, 46% are positive. How can 46% of the people still think the game is good if it's actually
broken?
Yeah. Or is this not the same Arkham Knight? It has to be. It released this year. It has to be the same one. Yeah, Batman Arkham Knight on PC. It's 6 out of 10 on Steam and a 4 out of 5 on Metacritic. Doesn't even make sense.
I'm also wondering though if it's
that's the Xbox One has an 85 on Metacritic.
It's also specific PC builds. Like if it runs better on specific builds.
Yeah. But oddly enough, it has a 71 on PC on its Metacritic. I mean, user score is 2.0, thankfully, but it's
I don't know. I also wonder though if the refund counts even if you got Arkham Knight through that video card program that they had going, like NVIDIA or something like that.
It's you mean if you got it for free?
Yeah, I wonder if that counts.
No, you probably can't refund the game if you got it for free. They'd be like, just delete it. Because I mean, in theory, you'd have an argument that NVIDIA gave you a game that is useless, but they would be like, but it cost you nothing, so you don't get to complain. You got a free game that was broken, whatever. What about the people who paid for it?
Right.
It'd be like me when I bought Drive Club and was pissed.
Right.
A year later when the game comes out and I'm excited to play, and I've been sticking behind Evolution this whole time. It took him a year, but whatever, it's going to be worth it.
Just made a new MotorStorm.
Yeah, should have just made MotorStorm. I'm curious to see what happens to Drive Club when GT Sport comes out. I imagine it will not do well.
Yeah.
Or, it'll just kind of fall off, because I feel like it's the same pool of people, right? The same, gearhead racing sim driving game people are just going to go from Drive Club to GT Sport.
Maybe, who knows?
I don't know. It just seems like they're super close knit. So I just, in my opinion, I'm just thinking they're going from one to the next.
Maybe, yeah.
Drive Club is their
whatever gives them the
chick.
better experience.
Drive Club is the side chick until GT Sport comes out.
Right.
It's the real honey. Yeah, it just seems weird. Just seems weird to me.
Agreed.
But I mean, it's So I mean, it's one of those things. I'd love to. Like, the problem is I'll never. It's not like we'll ever get somebody to come onto the show to like talk to us about like how much money they make and how much money they spend versus copies sold and like breaking even. Like, nobody's gonna tell you that. Like, maybe indie devs would, but it's obviously like, it's much more critical for indie devs to sell copies of their game because they don't have the bankroll that these bigger publishers have.
Right.
But I am always curious to see that because it's one of those things. Like, I didn't buy Metal Gear Solid 5. I'm probably going to buy it eventually. But, like, is there that much of a crunch that the game has to sell well up front?
Or over time.
Like Minecraft clearly has done the slow burn, which netted,
because like started out as beta or whatever.
Yeah, Minecraft sold for $2.5 billion to Microsoft, so like clearly that's a slow burn. It came out years ago. My whole thing is, did Konami need Metal Gear Solid to sell well right when it launched? Like Drive Club needed to sell well when it came out because the game had been delayed a year. They'd been waiting so long.
Make that money back that they
right. You got to make all that money back you invested. So I am always curious to see how that would play into it. Did
Sony back Evolution for a little while, or was it just strictly?
In theory, I think they own the studio. So
so assuming they had to get the money to pay back Sony.
Yeah, I would assume that they have to pay it back. I mean, I don't know. It just seems like, if Naughty Dog said, hey, we want to make this game, but we need this much to throw into, like, I don't know, some sort of development thing, they'd be like, okay, fine.
Right.
And then when the game sells and they make all the money, then they just give back the money to Sony, or Sony is the one that gets I don't know. I don't know who gets the money when the games sell, Another question that I don't have the answer to. Like, how is the money doled out?
Right. A mystery.
It's not a mystery. I mean, I'm sure some of these people know. They're just probably never allowed to talk about it, and I don't blame them. It's none of.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's basically a mystery. We'll never legit know because for probably legal reasons.
Well, we probably won't know until after it matters. Like at some point, I really hope we hear about Kojima and leaving Konami. Like, I really hope we know, because it's apparently his non-compete ends in like January, February, when he can start like making games for himself or work with a studio. So like that's
kind of ridiculous.
That's the kind of
no compete clauses.
That's how all businesses protect their interests and stuff.
I get it, but it's not like, you're just
it's kind of crap because that's what he does. Like, he makes games, so it's like you're telling him you can't make games for X amount of period.
Yeah, that's kind of bullshit because then you're out of money for this X amount of period.
I imagine he's got money.
Right. No, I know that, but I'm just saying, like, he's not going to be able to make any money for the time being until then.
Well, yeah, he probably is still getting royalties from whatever.
Right.
But yes, he can't go actively pursue whatever. But the reality is the second that 2-month window is open or whatever the period of time is, the day to like the minute, I guarantee you his phone rings off the hook.
Oh God, yeah.
Like, everyone's gonna want a piece of him. Like, I could see Nintendo making. Nintendo doesn't have anything to offer him besides money, I guess. Maybe they want him in on the ground floor with NX. Could you imagine, instead of what was it, Twin Snakes, the next exclusive Hideo Kojima game is on Nintendo NX? Everyone would buy one. Everyone would be like, well, it's gotta be
Right? I would love his take on on specific Nintendo games.
Because the other thing too is, like, he obviously, it's not obvious. My assumption is, and I know we've done a lot of assuming this podcast, but I imagine he cannot make Metal Gear Solid anymore. He just has to make something different. But he can just
I'd imagine
he can just make.
It'd have to be in terms of Mega Man and Mighty 9. It'd have to be
exactly. It's got to be like Mighty Number 9 instead.
Not Mega Man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like
So
even if he wanted to keep making Metal Gear Solid, which I think he was done. I really feel like he was done with 4. You know,
he was done with like 3.
because I feel like 4 just kind of lets it. It lets it end in a way that kind of just
Here's the thing, though. 4 was the end of Solid Snake.
yeah,
He technically never finished Big Boss's story,
right.
which is why 5's the final chapter that puts the whole arc together.
Mm.
Thus, why they're calling 5 the actual end, not
The
4.
finale. Yeah. That's the thing too for me. It's like I just can't follow that storyline of like Big Boss versus Solid Snake versus.
Well, they're father and son.
I know their father and
It's
son.
not-
I know that whole thing, but it's so weird because like they're,
Against
it's
each
like the same character but not the same character.
Right.
That part always kind of made no sense to me. Metal Gear Solid 2 is always going to be my favorite game.
Play the games, it makes sense, but if you don't
Right,
play
yeah,
the
I'm not playing the game to make sense. I'm playing each game individually. I'm not
No.
connecting the story, which I suppose kind of limits it, but yeah, I don't play the games for the continuity of the story, at least in Metal Gear Solid's case, because it's too confusing for me. And I think it's because I never started on the first ones.
That's
and
literally why they made that timeline thing on PS3.
Yeah.
So you just read about it instead of playing it.
Yeah, exactly. That makes more sense. Like, I enjoyed Snake Eater. I thought
But
it
I'd
was
rather
fun.
play all of it.
Yeah.
That's just-
Well, it's like Zelda, right? Like, I don't play each Zelda game connecting them in any sort of story. I'm just playing each one as an individual game. Even though, in theory, like, A Link to
it's
the
all
Past is, like, technically
the
the
whole
first, or
weird
Link's
fucking
Awakening is, yeah.
yeah. That storyline's as weird as Metal Gear's.
Yeah. But at least, like, it's way simpler. I think that's the one thing. It's like, Zelda's simpler. There's a princess. You need to save her from this evil guy. Sometimes there's a light in a dark world.
Ish. So I've heard there's like according to that Zelda library book, whatever thing, the story's a mind fuck.
Kind of. I mean, it's weird because, he's the hero through time, and it's like time travel.
Because it's not all the same Link. It's not all the same Princess Zeldas. This and that. This and that. Like they're all actually different timelines. Yeah, it's all fucking weird.
I don't get it. I just enjoy the games. Yes, I mean, to bring it all around, I guess, it's fun to talk about it. I am curious to see how Konami handles this, because I imagine the game once a game releases, you have that 1 or 2 week window where it's going to sell a ton because it's in everyone's face, and then obviously your marketing drops off because you're like, well, I'm not going to market a game that's already out.
Sure, yeah.
Whatever percentage of people that were going to buy it bought it, and
we hit our target audience. Cool.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, and then you just kind of hope that people kind of pick up the game in the weeks and months afterwards that just kind of couldn't get to it. And I think that's a thing. Like, there has to be some algorithm that they know that they're, based on what other games are releasing at this period in time. Like, we're not going to sell a ton when it drops because there are these other games like Fallout 4 going head to head with Tomb Raider.
Right.
Like, Tomb Raider's going to lose that battle.
Oh God, yeah.
But
sure.
like Dying Light did so well because nothing else came out around it.
Right. It's true.
So I do kind of wonder how that will affect Metal Gear Solid 5 as it goes on, because I have to imagine that there's going to be people like me who just didn't pick it up yet. And I'm going to pick it up. Maybe I'll pick it up when it's like $40 instead of $60. And even games like Fallout 4 and Uncharted 4, like, they did that study, and it said like 80% of people haven't played the other Uncharted's. 80% of people with a PS4 or something. I don't know.
They're going in.
This is their first game unless they got the Uncharted collection. So, you've got to think about what's the percentage of people that have 1, 2, and 3, or 2 and 3 or 3, or one, whatever. They have one of the previous games from PS3, and they're most likely going to buy PS4, versus we have this giant pool of PS4 owners that haven't ever played them, and they're probably going to buy Uncharted 4.
Right.
Because they probably heard about it and heard about how successful it was on PS3, and maybe they didn't have a PS3 because they came from 360. You know,
Right.
so how does that play into it? Or or are people gonna bang out Uncharted Collection and then once they finish Uncharted Collection, then get Uncharted 4? So it's like,
For it, right.
is it? Are we gonna see a huge thing of sales in like week 1 and 2, and then we're gonna get the slow burn, or is it gonna be a little more widespread? I don't know. I think Uncharted 4 is gonna sell really well, but
Right. I I don't know. Like I've seen a lot of posts on Reddit of people just being like, Uncharted, meh.
mm,
4, meh. Looks cool, don't care.
I got pretty hyped seeing that multiplayer. PlayStation had it as a demo
The
at PAX
footage, yeah.
Australia, so I'm I'm getting it's getting there. But it's weird too, right? Because you see, like Grand Theft Auto 5
Hmm.
manages to sell like 50 million copies, and that's definitely in the, I would call the slow burn territory because it didn't sell it all at once. You know?
No, it's over. That's over time. But I mean, it's still sold well right out of the gate, anyways, though,
Right.
because they, broke records.
Yeah. So it's
And then I think Black Ops 2 or whatever else came out, that game as well broke records.
yeah. Like, oh, so this is Wikipedia, and I'll just close out on this list of best-selling video games. What do you think is one of the best-selling video games?
Hmm.
I'll give you in like you. I mean, we'll go with anything in the top 10, and I'll let you take some guesses at it. Because I'm not gonna lie, what is listed as number one, I don't even think is necessarily correct, and doesn't make any
I'm gonna
sense to me.
assume it's a Mario game.
It's not a Mario game.
Really? Hmm.
Mario. So it's Tetris is listed as number one.
Wow.
But it
Okay.
says Tetris that released in 2006 on mobile, iOS, BlackBerry, and PlayStation Portable says it sold 100 million copies. And Wii
Huh.
Sports is number 2 with 82 million copies. Minecraft is number 3 with 71 million, and then Grand Theft Auto 5 with 54 million. Then Super Mario Brothers from NES 1985 with 40 million. And then the next
Hmm.
one beneath that is Mario Kart Wii with 36 million. And then Tetris Game Boy, 35 million, which this is blowing my mind.
Tetris?
Yeah, so Wii Sports Resort, New Super Mario Brothers on the DS, Diablo 3, New Super Mario Brothers Wii, Wii Play, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, and then Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, then Call of Duty Black Ops, then Grand Theft Auto 4, then Call of Duty Black Ops 2, then Connect Adventures, and Nintendogs.
What?
And then
Wow.
Pokemon Red, Blue, and Green, 96, Game Boy, 23 million. Like, some of this just, I don't know, this can't be right. I mean, one,
Right.
it's Wikipedia, so I get it, but, like, it just doesn't seem like, because I'm going down this list and I'm like, is it really
I
possible?
feel like that's a list made by someone, obviously, that made that article,
This
not
article is
just
incomplete. No
just not
shit.
there's
This
no
is a
way
list
that's
of, which just seems weird that Tetris is the most sold game. Like, I feel like there are other
it's
like
just easy to
mobile
pick up.
iOS games that have sold a bazillion
Right.
copies.
It's Tetris is easy to pick up though. Anyone can play Tetris.
Yeah, but it seems weird that the only systems it's on are mobile, iOS, BlackBerry OS, and PSP. But
Hmm.
Wii Sports on the Wii sold 82 million copies. Like, did they sell 82 million Nintendo Wiis? I feel like they only sold like 100,000 of these stupid things.
Right. Well, I mean, you can get Wii Sports without the console
No,
now.
I know, but I'm just saying it seems
No,
odd for
it's
it to sell.
far-fetched. It's very far-fetched.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. Maybe it's right, and this is just blowing my mind a little bit.
That's real, then wow.
Because like Sonic the Hedgehog is the bottom of this list at 15 million because it says it doesn't do anything after 15 million. Single platform games. Yeah, it's so like it's all Nintendo.
Hmm.
It
Yeah.
just seems crazy. Oh, hey, there's Atari. That's cool. Oh, Wii Sports packaged with all systems except Japan. And Super
Oh.
Mario Brothers was packaged with NES. Tetris was packaged with Game Boy. Connect Adventures was packaged with Xbox 360s. So
Hmm.
that explains why that one sold, a
Oh, yeah, so
bazillion copies. Is counting the ones that came with it. That's kind of, I mean,
those-
whatever. I guess it counts.
yeah.
Halo 2 sold 8 million copies, according to Xbox. Halo 1 sold 5 million copies. Fable sold 3 million.
Really?
Yeah. According to this, I wish there was a... Wow, it lists like all the different consoles. That's kind of cool. Nintendo 64, what's your guess? Most selling game on the Nintendo 64, and it is as obvious as it sounds.
GoldenEye.
No, that's third.
Majora's Mask?
No, that's further down on the list.
Really?
Yeah. This one is like the generic everybody had it.
Well, see, I didn't start out with this. I didn't have a 64, so.
Super Mario 64.
Oh.
And then Mario Kart 64, number 1 and 2.
I was gonna say Mario Kart.
Yeah. Then it's GoldenEye, then Ocarina of Time, then Super Smash.
Wow. I mean, no surprise with Mario.
Mm.
It's really a surprise with that.
Yeah. Super Mario sold 12 million.
64. Super Mario 64 is regarded high on most
It's a
gamers'
good game.
lists.
It's a great game. I mean, everybody should play it if you haven't played it. But like GameCube, fucking Resident Evil sold 1.4 million copies. Not top of the list though.
No.
It's just weird looking through these because I'm like remembering all these games and being like, this was your big seller.
At the time, yeah.
Because like so many of those N64 games, I don't even actually have. Let me look at the NES games. I wonder if I have them all. We'll end on this, and then I don't have any shout outs, so we don't have to. We could just straight up end the episode.
All right.
So the NES list is Super Mario 1, then Super Mario 3, then Super Mario 2. I have all of those. Tetris, Legend of Zelda, then Zelda 2, then TMNT, nice, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So I have everything up to there. Then Dragon Warrior 3 and Dragon Warrior 4, I do not have. I have Metroid, I have Golf, I do not have Dragon Warrior 2, I have Baseball, I have RC Pro-Am, I do not have Mahjong, I don't have Family Stadium, and I think I have Punch-Out. It's like the top 15, maybe? Is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, whatever. So I have most of those. Total Nintendo games sold as of March 31st, 2014, 4.22 billion.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. That's not counting all the times they've been sold and resold on eBay, everybody.
Right.
Anyways, that was a fun little trip down memory lane. Anyways, we're going to end it there. That was just, I don't know. It's just talking about game sales and making money, I guess. But, so that's it for episode 43. It's been fun. It's been real. And
very real.
You can follow us on Twitter at the DGCast. I am at So After I Said. Mike is at mtong1. So, I said that I was going to start posting things to SoundCloud. Turns out they only let you post like 6 things, so I guess it'll just be 6 most recent, and I'll just have to start changing the upload so that it's the most 6 recent, because right now I was going from the beginning forward, and that seems dumb, because I got to episode 7, and it was like, we've started hiding your previous episodes because you have too many. So apparently you have to pay. So since iTunes is free and the website is free and YouTube is free, I don't see a need to SoundCloud.
No.
So in the future, SoundCloud will probably have the most recent episodes. Mm-hmm. But if you want to be up to date, iTunes and the website would be the place to go. YouTube to follow behind, and then SoundCloud whenever I get to it. So that's it. That's it for episode 43, and we will catch you